What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Today I want to talk about the Paradox Pokemon for Series 2 and their abilities, because it's kind of interesting how they're actually shaping up going into Series 2. And originally we thought, we'd see like a lot of Torkoals and maybe even some Pincurchins sprinkled in. And it's really not the case unless under very certain circumstances. So I want to talk about it. If this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed for daily competitive Pokemon content from me. We're trying to hit the goal of 5,000 subs by July, and so every like, comment, and subscription is appreciated. But let's get into it. So the two abilities in question when we're talking about Paradox Pokemon, with the past forms, we're talking about Photosynthesis. When Sunny Day or a booster energy is used, the highest stat is multiplied by 1.3 times, or if it's speed, it's by 1.5 times. Same deal, but it's electric terrain for the future forms. So if electric terrain is active, or if booster energy is used, highest stat is raised by 1.3 times, or the speed is raised by 1.5 times, right? They're very powerful abilities, but they're very circumstantial, and they're not shaping up like people thought they would. Mainly what you're seeing is like a booster energy on one Pokemon. Like, you're running a booster energy on one of these guys, and then if you run another Paradox Pokemon, like say you have Iron Hands, you're just throwing a normal item on that Pokemon, and you're not bringing things like Pincurchin, at least not that frequently, or Torkoal, because these are the only two Pokemon that are setting these type of terrains in this game. You're not bringing things like Pincurchin and Torkoal all that frequently, and the reason for that is these Pokemon are actually powering up the opposing Paradox Pokemon, right? You're giving the opposing side a boost. So for example, if you have an Iron Hands on the other side and you're running a Pincurchin and you set electric terrain, most Iron Hands are running Assault Vest right now, right? So if you throw out your Pincurchin and set electric terrain, you're now powering up their Iron Hands and making that Pokemon that you're up against even more powerful, which doesn't really do a whole lot for you. So from the current meta, these Pokemon just like very situationally are being played, but not as frequently as a lot of people thought they were going to be, which I find very interesting, especially like Torkoal. I thought we'd see a lot of Torkoal, honestly, and it's just not happening because I think truthfully, outside of like Bundle and Iron Hands, you're seeing more of the past Paradox Pokemon. Like, you're seeing more Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, Fluttermane, things like that. There's just more that are like top tier Pokemon, and I have a tier list breaking down what I think are the best Paradox Pokemon to build teams around. And you're just seeing, I feel, a lot more of the past forms, which made me think Torkoal was going to be a dominant force, but really it's just not in the current meta. Again, because you're powering up other Pokemon for the opposing side, which is a pain, and unless this is under like hard trick room, you're just outsped by everything, especially if Bundle's in play, and you're just not getting enough work done to really justify this Pokemon. Now, that's not to say that like Torkoal is like bad. Like, I think Pincurchin is super situational, but Torkoal, I mean, I've still seen it have some success, especially I think it'll have more success in a non-open team sheet. So like if you're playing ladder, it'll be better. But I feel like under like a hard trick room, like maybe you're running like Iron Hands and like Farigiraf, like the Ryoto Otaba strategy with Hariyama in Series 1, I think this could still be pretty viable for setting up other Pokemon, but like, and maybe like run Great Tusk to like set it up. But like outside of that, I don't really see Torkoal having a whole lot of crazy use, just because the main thing is like Eruption, and you can run like Heat Wave and stuff on it, but like at the end of the day, it's just so easy to like knock that out with Bundle or something else that like it just in this format isn't seen a ton of use. Now, I don't think this is going to be the case moving forward. Like, once we get into further formats and we start getting access to older Pokemon, I think this will shift, especially like if you think about like Torkoal use, right? I think once we have more access to things like Venusaur, I'm sure Venusaur and Blastoise will be added in DLC, but like Venusaur with Chlorophyll, that's gonna be big, and we'll see more Sun use in that scenario. Once we get like Groudon back, in like restricted formats, that's gonna be really good. So that kind of stuff, once that changes, I think the team styles and how we focus on Paradox Pokemon is gonna shift dramatically. Another one's like Tapu Koko. Why can I not find it? Tapu Koko, why I can't spell. Tapu, there it is. Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is another surge setter. I think that's going to be huge for the future forms. And I think once we start getting access to more and more of these Pokemon, it's going to be more common for us to start focusing on those sun and electric terrains and kind of shifting that around. So especially with like Koraidon and Miraidon coming into play, when we do get to the restricted formats, that is definitely going to shift what Pokemon we are bringing and how they pair together for sure, just because of how their abilities work. So I think definitely in the future, this is going to change and we're going to have to adapt. But right now, honestly, without these Pokemon, there's not a whole lot of reason to focus too heavily on like running Sun. I've even seen some people like run Sableye Sunny Day or like Murkrow Sunny Day, and valid option. But again, you have to consider that you're boosting the opposing side. You are making the opposing Pokemon that much stronger by activating some of those terrains, right? So right now, I think what the best strategy is if you're running more than one of these Pokemon, so say, for example, you have Roaring Moon, maybe you have Bundle, and you have Flutter Mane, right? Or let's just use these three as an example, right? So one of these Pokemon, like, gets booster energy. Boom. There's your booster energy. And that gets the buff from its ability. The other two play off their strengths. So, like, Bundle's super fast naturally. What you need to do is, like, Focus Sash, and things like that. That is what's going to be the most important, is focus one Pokemon as being your sole target for your photosynthesis or your Quark Drive, whatever the case may be. I'm seeing a lot of booster energy on Iron Bundle, honestly, because it gets access to like Icy Wind for speed control. And then I've seen a lot more people starting to run Encore, because you could just spam Encore and make a bunch of Pokemon useless without them being able to actually hurt this Pokemon. And it's actually a really, really cool strategy that I'm seeing. So this is really cool. And then maybe like Freeze Dry or Hydro Pump. I don't know what people are actually running on this set. But like that's a really solid option there for this Pokemon. Just a bunch of really cool stuff with like being able to focus on one Pokemon, like booster energy on here. Most of the time you're going to be running like Tailwind and maxing out your speed, so that way you can get a really quick Tailwind down and then start kind of rolling from there. But that's like the strat. Focus on one Pokemon that's going to be like your booster energy Pokemon. And then for other Pokemon like Iron Hands, just play around it. Play around it. Assault Vest is arguably the best item for Iron Hands right now. Maybe like a Lumberry if you're worried about getting burnt. That could be really good. But also for other Paradox Pokemon, you know, like Flutter Mane. You can run like Sash, because this thing's super fast. You can run Sash, or you can run Choice Specs, depending on the team that you're running. Really solid options there. Another Pokemon that's getting some use with the booster energy is going to be your Iron Moth. Seen a lot of use in this, especially paired with Flutter Mane. You're able to actually make this faster than Flutter Mane, change the speed over here, so this is faster with the booster energy, and then use like Acid Spray to set up Flutter Mane with Choice Specs to do huge damage. Really solid option there as well as like a booster energy target. But you get what I'm saying. Like you're picking one Pokemon that's going to get the booster energy and get the effect from the ability, and the other Pokemon are just playing as normal Pokemon because they're that powerful. Like Flutter Mane's damage is unreal, so you don't always have to run the booster energy to make it good. Just throw like Choice Specs on it, or even give it a Focus Sash. Iron Hands is super good defensively and already has a really high attack stat, so you don't really need Quark Drive to get activated. You can run Assault Vest, make it even more bulky, and make it a menace to society, right? That kind of thing is the strategy for building around these particular Pokemon. What's another Pokemon? Great Tusk can go either way. It's not one that has to have booster energy. It does benefit heavily from having booster energy. If you're running a different team, like maybe you have Iron Bundle with like a Focus Sash or something, definitely could be a very good option for booster energy over here. But if you have another Pokemon like Roaring Moon with booster energy Tailwind on your team, you can do like Clear Amulet or something on this, right? Because this already has the booster energy. So just when you're building teams, which I have another video talking about team building in Series 2, but when you're building teams, think about that. Think about, oh, if I'm going to bring more than one Paradox Pokemon, I want this Pokemon to be the booster energy Pokemon and the one that's going to get the benefits. Unless you're running like a Trick Room Torkoal team, this is the Pokemon that's going to really get the benefit from booster energy, and then this Pokemon is pairing around it because the other Pokemon supports it with that booster energy, right? So just some food for thought. I think it's really interesting that we're kind of ignoring the abilities right now for the most part. Again, there's certain teams that are just being like focused on that, and it does have some benefit, but ultimately you're also hurting yourself if the other team's running Paradox Pokemon. So it's really interesting. Again, I think this will change when we get to future formats. Once we have access to other terrain setters, other drought setters, this is definitely going to shift. But right now, it's pretty much just VGC Series 1 with Paradox Pokemon added. Like, we're running very similar Pokemon. Like, you're still seeing Garganacl, you're still seeing Goldango, you're still seeing all the very popular Pokemon from Series 1, and we're just rotating in certain Pokemon that can kind of do those roles a little bit better. For example, like Tatsugiri, really popular toward the end of Series 1, was running, like, Choice Scarf, Icy Wind, right? And this was like a really good option to pair with like Goldango. Now you don't have to run Dondozo Tatsugiri. You can just run Iron Bundle and do the exact same thing and then throw another Pokemon in the Dondozo slot, right? So there's just some Pokemon that can hop in and fill those roles and change kind of how teams are built, but it follows a very similar strategy to what we had before. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know what Paradox Pokemon you're most excited to build a team around. And if you found the video entertaining and helpful, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Be sure to check out the Discord where people over there playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see more from me, check out this video where I break down the tier list of the Paradox Pokemon that I think are the absolute best in VGC Series 2. And also check out this other video where I talk about Arcanine and how Arcanine is actually going to be pretty solid in VGC Series 2. I've got a really good feeling about Arcanine because we're seeing a decline in like King Gambits and Annihilapes right now. And having access to Will-O-Wisp and like throwing a Covert Cloak on it makes it super good into Iron Hands, which is a threat right now. So definitely check that video out. But until next time, peace.